Hey. Hi. I'll be right there. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. Hey, come back. Come back. Come back. Come back. Come back. Hello? 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 Come back. Hey, who's here? Come on, somebody. Please. Come and see me. Hi, come on. Don't be afraid. Don't be scared. Hey, Karen. There you are. There you are, lady. How's it going? Waiting to see if we get any other people. It's been slim pickings for me for a little while now. Little while now. Slim pickings. Gotta build up my followers again. You were just headed to bed. Okay, can you lay in bed and listen? It's going to be those short little stories again. The creepy ones. How about that? Get ready for bed. I'm going to put my phone in here. Come on. Somebody else is here, but they don't want to say anything. They're probably scared because it's scary stories. So they're huddled under their blanket. We will start anyway, and hopefully more people will come in. Yeah, I think they will, Karen. You read my mind. We said the same thing at the same time. This one is called Lifetimes. Michelle, you just don't understand what just happened, Jeremy said, shaking. What are you talking about? Sit down. She offered him a seat at their kitchen table. I sat, hey, Lark, ready for a scary story or two? What are you talking about? She offered him a seat at her kitchen table. He sat abruptly, picking up a bottle of water and gulping it. Are you okay? She asked. Oliver asked me to take him for a walk down the street. Just the two of us. Yeah, I said hi to Lark. Lark, get me some more customers, please. I know you're in the Zoom. They can turn this on. Give me some people so I don't look like a total loser. Everybody hates me now. That's okay. I'm not giving up and I'm not giving in. We fight, we fight, we fight, we persevere. Okay, Lark. I should have messaged Carolyn. I usually do. But I don't know if she went to bed or what. She said, "Are you okay?" And Oliver asked me to take him for a walk down the street. Just the two of us. Aw, that's so adorable. I thought so too. For a 5-year-old, it's a sweet thing for a kid to ask his father to do. Hey, Gail. Anyway, we started walking down the street. I held his hand because I'm always worried that he's too close to the edge of the sidewalk, you know. He didn't say much. We went down toward the park a bit, and I asked him, "What's on your mind, little buddy?" Hey, Janae, I see Lark did tell you guys. Thanks for coming. Everybody hates me now, but like I told Lark and Karen H., we persevere, we get right through it. We keep on going. Right, Janae? That's right. Fight, fight, fight. Heart made wise. Fancy seeing you here. Okay, here we go. Now we have us a crowd. Okay, let's see. Okay, the father is walking with the 5-year-old son. He's so surprised. He's telling the wife that he's so surprised that the little boy wanted to go for a walk. Anyway, we started walking down the street. I held his hand because I'm always worried that he's too close to the edge of the sidewalk, you know. He didn't say much. We went down toward the park a bit, and I asked him, "What's on your mind, little buddy?" Hey, Sharon. Hey, whisper to me, are you here? Cross-eyed Betty, come on out. He said, "I just wanted to have some time to be alone with you and be peaceful and be out in nature." He used those words. His wife stopped drying the dish in her hand and looked at him. Yeah, wait, there's more. I said to him, "Oh, that's really nice, Oliver." And he said to me, "I want you to know that you're one of the best fathers I've ever had." She laughed. Oh, that's so funny. He really said that? So then I laughed out loud and said, "Well, that's sweet, honey, but I'm the only father you've ever had." And he stopped, let go of my hand, looked up at me with an old man's eyes, and said, "I have had many parents and many children across many lifetimes, but you're still one of the best fathers I've ever had." He then went back to holding my hand and being a typical goofy 5-year-old again. Now, listen, that was super short, right? It was the little picture. It's cutting out? What's the problem? What? What? you serious? Why is this happening? We lost everybody. It's okay now? Okay, I'm just going to go on. The show must go on. I don't quit. This one's called Proposal. It's me who the spirit haunts, not my house, but me. Whenever I run, it follows. Its presence has taken away everything that I had. My sanity's chipping away, piece by piece. It wants me, and I've got nowhere to run. I leaned back in the hard leather seat of Sally's car and looked up at the house in front of me. It was the only house on the street with no sign of life in it. I hated it. Come on, Jane. You got to love what you've got. Most of us can't even dream of owning a house at our age, my best friend commented from the driver's seat. I rolled my eyes and stepped out. I was the only 20-year-old on campus who owned a two-story house on Vermilion Street and lived alone. That was what my parents demanded when they transferred the deed to me. I would have loved to live on campus, Sally, with friends, I told her as I climbed up the porch and inserted the key into the lock. She groaned in frustration. You can have them here. Your parents will never know. I threw her an unimpressed look and stepped inside. She hollered her goodbye from the doorway and then was gone. Sighing, I switched on the lights to the foyer. They blinked a couple of times before winking out entirely. I cursed this high maintenance old house under my breath and fished out my phone as I made my way into the living room. Squelch. I stopped. I'd stepped into something wet. I didn't remember dropping anything like that on the floor. Sighing, I headed for the light switches, my feet making patterns on the floor. The moment lights struggled on, I yelped. There was a message written on the floor with mud, or was it mud? I shuddered as I hesitantly walked towards it. Swallowing, I turned on my phone's torch, I guess flashlight. Welcome home, darling. The words read in the mud with worms crawling in it. I let out a blood-curdling scream, but there was no one to listen. My legs became weak and refused to support my weight. I stumbled back a couple of steps before crashing on the cold, hard floor of my living room. I fumbled with my cell phone as I called the police. I don't know what I told them, but I was aware of the silence that followed the call. I stayed there, transfixed on the floor while I waited to hear the familiar police sirens outside. We found no sign of breaking and entering, no fingerprints anywhere, Inspector Jake Lowe informed me. I was still shaking, my arms wrapped around myself and my cardigan pulled tightly close. I refused to look at the inspector's face. I knew what he might be thinking. Could it be a prank? He suggested. Okay, Janae. Well, thank you anyway. I appreciate it. Thank you. Without giving him a response, I made my way back to the house. God bless them. The police cleaned up the entrance to the living room for me, but I still stepped around the dark stains and into the kitchen. With my hands shaking, I fixed myself a cup of coffee and bid the police goodbye. I couldn't think. I refused to think. That night, I tossed and turned in my bed. My bedroom was colder than usual, and it stank of something decaying. I dragged the laundry basket down to the first floor and checked all my drawers, even under the bed. I found nothing. Giving up, I sprayed half a bottle of air freshener. The stink refused to leave the next day. It was my day off, and I'd planned so many activities, but the events from the night before and the stink made me frustrated than usual. I was exhausted. At 8 in the morning, I dragged myself out of my bed and made my way downstairs, fighting off the ugly taste at the back of my throat. My eyes found their way to the dark stain on the floor from the night before. When my eyes landed on it, I choked down a scream. Good morning, babe. Once more, the message was written in mud with maggots crawling in it. I slumped down the stairs, muffling my cries. What the hell was happening around here? As I tried to wrap my mind around what I was seeing, I heard the bottom step creak as it usually did under a weight. My cries halted in my throat, and I scrambled back a step. As I watched, with my eyes wide and heartbeat escalating, muddy footprints formed on the stairs, heading towards me. In my terror, I couldn't move. My limbs refused to obey my desperate commands. When the footprints were close enough, I sprang into action. I turned and rushed towards my bedroom, slammed the closed door, and bolted it. I could still hear the floorboards protesting under the weight of the unseen intruder. Desperately, I looked for my cell phone, but I'd misplaced it somewhere in my bedspread the night before. The footsteps stopped just outside my door, and I froze. I waited, my bedroom's clock ticking the seconds as if counting down to something. Then I heard it, a sigh just outside my door. The temperature dropped and the windows slammed closed. Their glass rattled in the quiet of the Saturday morning. I turned and rushed towards the bathroom. I closed the door behind me just as the door to my bedroom was kicked open by an invisible force. I pressed my back against the bathroom door and forced myself to calm down and think. Sliding down to the cold marble floor, I pulled my knees to my chest. It is all a dream, I told myself. Or one of my friends pulling a prank, a perfect one at that. Such thoughts calmed me down to some extent, only after I stopped shaking. I opened my eyes and focused on everything around me. Maybe I should have kept my eyes closed, I thought, as fear twisted like a hot poker inside me. On the bathroom floor, someone had drawn arrows in blood, pointing towards the bathtub, full of blood mixed in water, and swimming in it were dried flower petals and dead insects. My vision turned dark, and I blinked everything into focus. I felt numb as my feet carried me toward the dressing area opposite the tub. My hands reached towards the dress that hung on the wall, a tattered wedding dress covered with dirt and blood. Where the hell had it come from? On the other side of the closed door, I heard the footsteps again. I turned to find the handles to the door turn. In my dread, I'd forgotten to lock the doors. My feet refused to hold me up, so I fell. The last thing I remembered was the sound of the door opening and searing pain from where my head collided with the dresser's corner. Scoot of two. We have a similar name. Do I know you, Scoot of two? Welcome. Let's see. We're going to end after this story. so I can get to bed and you guys can too. Let's see here. I was lying on something soft and I didn't want to move. The overbearing stink hit me like a ton of bricks, and I bolted upright. The curtains were pulled close, but I could tell that it was dark outside. The room was lit up with strange candles. Their sharp gasoline smell made my eyes water. The room was cold, and thick smog hung heavy in the air. I looked down and shrieked. I was dressed in the battered wedding gown. Blood made stark patterns against the white base, and dead insects decorated it like beads. I pulled the gown away from my body, the old material tearing against my grip. Shh, someone whispered, just as the other side of the mattress dipped under the weight. This time, I couldn't even scream. My throat had closed up on me. This was happening, and it wasn't a dream. I slid off the bed, crawled, stumbled, and ran towards the door. Now I'm getting a headache. It was locked. With my hands shaking, I managed to unbolt it after several tries. Behind me, the invisible footsteps made their way towards me leisurely. The sound of squishing steps amplified my terror, but I was out of the door before they could reach me. I slipped on my way down the stairs, and my body rolled towards the floor. My chin hit the edge of the last step, tearing open my sensitive skin. Stars danced in front of my eyes due to pain, but I couldn't stop. I needed to get out of the house. That thought was the only thing that urged my limbs into action. As I passed the living room, I skidded to a stop in terror. A three-tiered wedding cake stood on the kitchen counter with dead butterflies decorating it. One side of it was chopped off and flies buzzed around it. This would be creepy, you know? I'm thinking of this like a movie or something. Surrounding it was the decayed food placed between the gasoline scented candles as if in preparation for a feast. The spirit haunting me was sick. He wanted to marry me, or maybe in his twisted mind, I was already his wife. I rushed towards the front door. Now there was a renewed urgency in my steps. I flew out of the front door, grasping my purse and car keys on my way out. I was in my car and reversing it when I looked at the house one last time. There was a dark shadow standing in the doorway. Its hands were in its pockets, back leaning against the door as if it knew it was going to win, as if it was going to enjoy chasing me. I repressed the shudder that traveled down my spine and reveled in the sound of tires squealing as I pulled out of the driveway. I was at the end of the street when the sound of a deep laughter reached me. The chase was on, I realized with dread. I stand at the altar with a dried orange blossoms bouquet in my hands. Dead honeybees and other insects cling to the petals like dewdrops. The stink from the candles burning in the demolished church sting my eyes, and I blink away the tears. This is creepy. I've run for months with no rest. Finally, I'm out of money and support. Exorcists have refused to help me because they're afraid of it. It's bound to me. That's what they've told me. I freed it from its prison during one of my hikes, and there's nothing in this world that can shield me from it. I clutch the dagger that I carry in the pockets of the tattered wedding gown that I wear when I hear footsteps I've become familiar with. I listen to them in my nightmares, and the familiar stink that overbears all of my senses when he gets too close. Sometimes I feel the whisper of cold, bony fingers sliding down my skin when I'm too exhausted to fight. I can't always see him, but I sure as hell can feel his presence. One way or another, I'm going to end our ill fated relationship. Today or tomorrow, only one of us will walk the earth again. The end. Kind of creepy, isn't it? Picturing the wedding cake and flowers, honeybees, dead bees. Well, thanks, guys, for coming. At least you came and helped me out. At least I have some people that still like me. There you are, Tracy B. You're always here. I wondered. It was a weird one, right, Gail? Thanks, Tracy, for coming. And thanks, everybody else. I love you too, Tracy. All of you guys. I was looking for Whisper to Me, LMNW, Alicia. She hasn't been here for a long time. Taco. Taco, if you happen to listen, I got your email. And thank you so much. Okay, guys, thanks for coming. I feel real pitiful. Bye. Have a good night. Sweet dreams.